Hello and welcome back to a podcast where we talk about going from corporate drone to corporate dropout. You know it, you love it. Welcome back to Chaos and Fuckery. And today's episode is a fitness episode. Why am I talking about today's topic? Well, because one of the creators involved in this is someone that I have been watching myself as a fellow fitness creator, but also just their story is interesting and kind of similar to mine. So I found this creator a long time ago, but also because of the product this particular creator is suing this company for, if you will. So if you didn't already see it in the title and thumbnail, today's episode is all about the David Barr EPG lawsuit. And I find this one so interesting. Not only because the supplement market is kind of wild, right? And I consider protein bars to be a part of the supplement market, but also because David Barr has gotten a ton of popularity via TikTok and via TikTok shop creators like the creator, one of the people involved in the lawsuit against them. So we were talking about this, and in case you haven't figured it out because of the lawsuit, the creator I'm talking about is Blake, or Nutrition Narc on TikTok. He has been working on creating a low-calorie Chick-fil-A sauce, and as a sauce addict myself, I literally have Zach's sauce sitting right next to me, and Chick-fil-A sauce is an unholy addiction I have been following the creation of this Chick-fil-A sauce for so damn long. But also, as a fitness creator, right, I struggle to get my protein in. And the reason I, said Blake's story kind of mine is the fact that Blake, before he became a fitness influencer and fitness content creator, was an engineer. An aerospace engineer at that. And I am also an engineer who followed kind of my journey into fitness and gaming and kind of nerdy content creation culture. And while Blake did it at the right time and he has amassed an amazing following and has pretty decent advice and food reviews and things like that, the parallel between, finding another engineer, it's when I find other engineers on Twitch too. It's one of those things that I'm like, do we all just hate our jobs and did it for money? And that's kind of how it feels like with engineers, right? We all seem to go find other things a lot of the times that, maybe we can use our skills, right? On Twitch, I see a lot of creators like Failboat and Doug that have software engineering backgrounds, and Point Crow even, that have software engineering backgrounds and use it to make funny gimmicks for their Twitch gaming. So when it comes to things like that, I love finding other engineers, and that's why, I followed Blake originally before the sauce thing. But to kind of summarize this lawsuit at a high level. So there was this company that created this product called EPG, and it is basically a lower calorie alternative to using fat in supplements, right? So it helps taste-wise, things taste a lot better. So when it comes to, recreating a low calorie Chick-fil-A sauce, that it is typically pretty heavy on the fat side, you can use a product like this and you almost wouldn't notice the difference. It's why David Barr's taste the way they do. And apparently, along the way, David Barr has essentially bought this ingredient and ended competitor markets. So you now have a bunch of other fitness and supplement companies that were using this ingredient in their products that essentially can't, because David Barr ended. When they bought EPG, they ended their distribution of the product to these other companies that were using it. So you have companies, let me look this up real quick. You have currently involved in the lawsuit, you have Own Your Hunger, Lighten Up Foods, and Defiant Foods are claiming that David Barr is orchestrating that the acquisition of EPG, which is the company that owned EPG, basically created a monopoly so that only David Barr could use this ingredient that they were all using in some of their supplements and foods. And from a business perspective, right, that's absurd. It's an ingredient. It's like when people throw a fit, patents are a very similar situation where people try to patent crazy things that shouldn't be patented, because they should just be available for other people to use and improve their own products. That's how I feel about this EPG thing. And when Nutrition Narc, or Blake, was going through the creation of their Chick-fil-A sauce and almost had it to production, which I would have been one of the first people to buy that product. 100%, I am not for overconsumption culture, but give me some low-cal Chick-fil-A sauce, I'll be a happy fucking person. When they started selling Chick-fil-A sauce by the bottle, I always have a bottle in my house. That's how addicted to that stuff I am. So I've been following this creation for a very long time. And when the lawsuit whispers started happening because the product didn't launch, I was like, what's going on? I got to dig into this. Blake had used EPG as his formulation to make it taste. Going through all of these different variations of the sauce, they came to the conclusion that the EPG version of the sauce was the best, and that was what was going to go to market. David Barr buys EPG that owns EPG and has now stopped distribution. So now the sauce is on an indefinite hold. Why? And I'm sure this is not the first fitness company to do something like this, right? We're talking probably in the early days of artificial sweeteners. I'm not sure. But why is one particular protein bar company getting the monopoly on this particular ingredient that could be used to help so many people? And I think that's my biggest frustration with it, right? Chick-fil-A sauce is one thing. If that's not your thing, there are so many baked goods, like even the protein, right? The protein baked good realm is getting so out of hand, but I love it because it's a different way to have a sweet tooth without having to completely destroy your macros. Are they something you should have every day? No, it's probably like eating some Oreos, but it does help, you know, people who struggle with their protein goals get a little sweet treat in and move on. And having that fat alternative creates a different world of taste when it comes to protein products, when it comes to low calorie sauces, when it comes to so many different things I can think of when it comes to cooking with this product, that why would you want to monopolize it? It's an ingredient. That's like someone saying, I own the patent, like I own the right to flour. No, yes, you might own the patent to the chemical formulation, but at that point, it is an ingredient. And this isn't a patent conversation lawsuit, but it's similar concept, right? Saying you own the sole rights to use flour in your products, that would put every other bakery out of business. And that's kind of what's happening here. Saying that David Barr has the sole right to use EPG in their product does in fact make it so that no other company can utilize the awesomeness that is EPG and have these good tasting sauces, good tasting bars that might even be a competitor to David Barr. David Barr wants to be the people that owns the rights and creates that monopoly for them as a protein bar. And I think that's purely because they were starting to lose popularity, right? You do have really big creators and just people in general that support this product. I'm reading a men's fitness article right now as I'm talking about this, and the little like subtitle tagline to the legal battle is, "The brand is endorsed by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Andrew Herdman." I don't know who the Andrew guy is. It's probably a bodybuilder, if I had to guess. I don't follow the bodybuilding world as closely as I should as a fitness creator, but whatever. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, like anyone who knows, you know, he's like the original fitness guy, right? It is supported by so many, David Barr as a company was supported by so many high profile people that this lawsuit, depending on how it goes, will either forever taint the companies that are suing or forever taint David Barr. And I am personally of the opinion currently, based on, you know, looking at the legal battle and seeing people like Blake, who are really just trying to do good for people in the fitness space, create something so that they can still have a little bit of fun with their fitness journey, get slammed and not be able to release a product that they've had in development and put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the development of, that the general population would love and adore. We don't need another protein bar like David Barr. We need things like the sauces. Is it going to solve all of the obesity problems in the world? No, but it definitely helps. When weight loss and nutrition can be fun and taste good, it helps people actually want to be motivated to do it. I'm sorry, but protein bars inherently have bad texture, don't taste that great, and are like in a pinch kind of situations. Shelf stable for hurricane season, I keep them in my house. I don't need any more protein bars, and honestly, neither do my clients. But a low-cal Chick-fil-A sauce, because I had a client a couple years ago that loved Zaxby's. But if you could create a low-cal version of the Zax sauce, a low-cal version of the Chick-fil-A sauce, whatever sauce it is that you want that would allow you to have the fun ones that aren't just, you know, I mean, at the current moment, other than, you know, actual dressings for salads, because they found a couple different ways to make those tasty. Dipping sauces for things like chicken tenders, when we're talking low calorie, are kind of limited to ketchup and putting ranch seasoning packets in Greek yogurt, which is not the same at all. And if you like hot sauce, you could get into the hot sauce realm too, but that is, you know, hit or miss if you like spicy food. If you can make nutrition, being healthy, if you will, fun and taste as good as, you know, going to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, then more people are likely to stick to it and keep doing it because it's something that they can keep at home and have that version of their favorite thing out to dinner. Because for me, you know, like Chick-fil-A isn't necessarily about the chicken or the waffle fries. It literally is about that damn sauce. I don't understand why anyone in the fitness space, given what we know about the obesity epidemic and given just nutrition in general, why a fitness company like David Barr would want to keep the rest of the world from being able to experience products that taste good and are lower calorie. From a business perspective, I absolutely understand it, but from a fitness perspective, a fitness-minded person's perspective, we need more products that make, if we're going into, you know, making more products, because I don't think the fitness space really needs more products, truthfully. But if we're going into making more of these lower calorie versions of things, products, we don't need more protein bars. We don't. Bearbell has kind of solidified the market of good tasting protein bars. And even, you know, Former Fat Guy, which is another creator that, you know, is pretty close to Nutrition Narc that I also follow a lot, has rated Bearbell, almost all of their Bearbells when he does his protein bar reviews, have some of the best. He has his calorie to protein ratio score, or CTP. Most of the Bearbells have been rated high for CTP. They've been rated high for cost, and they've been, well, cost is different. Cost, I think, is where the Bearbell loses. Anyways, it's been a while since I've watched one of the reviews. Point being, on taste and CTP, they top the market. We don't need more, you know, other than flavors. I'm okay with flavors. We don't need more companies, you know, for protein bars. We don't need more companies for just regular whey protein. Because at the end of the day, if you don't know how to manipulate the different types of proteins for baking and things like that at home, trying to do it yourself is not going to work, which is where companies like, there was this company that I used to buy from called Little Buff that did basically cake boxes, but protein cake boxes, so that I didn't have to work the formulation of protein to make a good bake. I could use her bases to do things like muffins and cakes, and most of her batters could also be used just simply for, you know, a mug cake that I throw in the microwave if I want a sweet treat. But I could also use them to do a whole bunch of other stuff. And she sold them in single serving bags or big bags that you can, you know, measure out as if you were making a cake, but it's a protein cake. It's the same thing with something like PB Fit to me. I love peanut butter. I'm going to try to make this peanut butter pie that I make every year for Thanksgiving. I'm going to try to make mini versions with dark chocolate, non-dairy whipped cream, and PB Fit instead of full fat PB, whipped cream, the whole kit and caboodle, right? I'm changing it so that it's a smaller version that I can have as a sweet treat whenever I want, and a slightly more healthier version because it doesn't have the oils and fats from peanut butter. But if you could use something like EPG in, say, a dessert peanut butter, there's another creator I watched that is creating a protein dessert peanut butter that has like mix-ins and stuff. If you could use that to get that same kind of oily, fatty feel to peanut butter, I'm not sure if that's a good use of EPG, but point being, PB Fit does it well, but doesn't do it well enough that you get that kind of sweetness that you could get out of, you know, a dessert peanut butter. So you have that as well. There's so many different uses for a fat replacement that I could see in the protein world, or not the protein world, but just in the fitness world, that you can make different products that will taste a lot better. A lot better. Cookies, cupcakes, you know, those bakes that struggle a little on the dry side because they don't have a lot of the butter and the fat in them could help and be aided by this ingredient. So yes, there are companies like Own Your Hunger and, you know, whoever Blake is also suing with that are already being impacted by this monopoly that David Barr is trying to create. But there are also future companies that could come up with a bunch of other crazy products. And I experiment with creating different recipes in the protein bake world all the time. I've made mini strawberry shortcakes. I've made tiramisus. I've made, obviously with my Ninja Creamy, I make an apple pie Ninja Creamy. I experiment with that stuff all the time. And if I could come up with a product that was different and unique and work with a company like that could do the distribution and such, and I had the money obviously to put that product out on the market, I would totally do it. However, not having access to such an important ingredient like EPG would deter me from doing it, because if I created this, like I did all of the testing to create this formulation. Will Tennyson just did like donut holes recently, where he went through the whole product. He did a video where he went through all of the different formulation and how he came to the donut flavors he wanted to do and things like that. We need more of those. We need more products that are lower calorie, that taste like the fun stuff that we know and love, to help people transition from eat fast food every day because it's what I can do quickly on my way home, to I'm cooking at home, but I still get a little fun flavor taste of Chick-fil-A, or a fun little flavor taste of Krispy Kreme, or whatever it is. We need more products like that, because those are ones that, you know, will actually buy and are actually complicated to recreate at home without unique products and ingredients that only distribution people have access to. I am fully on team Own Your Hunger, Defiant Foods. David Barr is in the wrong here. So with that being said, with my little rant, I will be following this case deeper and deeper down the pipeline, because not only are they screwing over companies that were already formulating their products with this ingredient because it was, you know, somebody else. It's morally gray at best for a company to do something like this, to basically, essentially, yes, they're taking out their business competition, but at the end of the day, what's more important? And yes, I know they're a business, so to them, technically, their business is more important, blah, blah, blah. As a business owner, I get it. But as a fitness creator that says, hey, we have a bunch of people that need help in the fitness space. Because, yeah, calories in, calories out, but it's not always easy. You like a sweet treat, and it feels miserable. And when you can't have access to the fun things that taste good, because oils make calories drive up like crazy. You know, fat in general makes calories drive up like crazy. Fat and carbs, which are the two of the fun things in the world to eat. So if we can have lower calorie versions of these things and they taste almost identical, it's like these things, right? Zero, come back. It's like these things, right? We got our zero sugar. Now imagine, you know, Coke came in and said, we own the patent to, what is the artificial sweetener on this one? Whatever, aspartame, I think is the one in this one. We own the patent, or we own the sole rights, not patent, we own the sole rights to aspartame. You now have to reformulate all of your sodas, Pepsi, your zero sodas, so that you're no longer allowed to use that artificial sweetener. In this case, I mean, maybe this was a bad example because there are a ton of different artificial sweeteners, but they all also taste a little bit different. Anyone who has messed around with artificial sweeteners knows, you know, your stevia, the required amount of stevia to get that same sweetness versus, you know, liquid drops or something like that is completely, you have to play trial and error to get the right formulation, especially if you're taking like an original recipe that has regular, just refined sugar in it and trying to replace it with an artificial sweetener. Lord help us all, because that is a lot of trial and error to be able to do. And it's even different when you go from refined sugar to cane sugar. And there's so many different... Pepsi would have to spend millions to reformulate if Coke did something like that. And that's what David Barr is doing right now. They're forcing companies that were already using this ingredient to reformulate all of their products, on top of new ones that will never see the light of day until this lawsuit ends, and may never see the light of day depending on how much money the people suing have to waste time in litigation with David Barr, because I'm sure they're not just going to give it up easily. David Barr is the dickhead in this situation, and it's an ultimate net negative to the fitness industry. I'd rather see David Barr go belly under, because to my knowledge, the only products I've ever seen from them are protein bars, and protein bars are a dime a dozen. They're not that special. They are dickheads and, you know, hurting the rest of the fitness industry supplement progress, if you will, of creating good diet foods. And I mean, I've talked about it for years. Mountain Dew has never been able to formulate their diet variation well. It has always been gross until they started doing the zeros, but only the flavored ones. The actual Mountain Dew, to me, the Mountain Dew Zero, just regular Mountain Dew, doesn't taste good. And it was the same with Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper, no, does not taste good. Dr. Pepper Zero, I have a full case of it in my fridge. So there is a certain amount to say about the way it's formulated, and, reformulating a lot of these products without the EPG to maybe a different version. Maybe someone creates a product similar to EPG just to get around this lawsuit. It's not the same. And that will lose these other companies' customer bases. I'm sure, given that Blake has talked a lot about the formulation process of the Chick-fil-A sauce, the version with the EPG was the only version that he was willing to put on market because of the way the other ones tasted. Artificial sweeteners, protein products, whatever it is, are notorious for having specific weird tastes about them. And then some company comes along and figures out how to get rid of that weird taste, and that company now takes over the market. That is what EPG is doing currently. And now David Barr's fucked everything with that formulation. So, in my opinion, as a fitness person, they're in the wrong. In my opinion, as a business person, I get it. I still think they're dickheads. I wouldn't want to support a company like that, and I'm not. I've never bought David Barr's off TikTok Shop, and I'm not going to run to buy David Barr's. I would run to buy all the stuff from Own Your Hunger and such, but also, I want to make sure that customer bases that have been using this product actually get access to what is left of it, if there's anything left of it, until this lawsuit is settled. Because those who are using it for weight loss because they want, some good version of their product are going to lose out. And I hate that for the consumer side, because a lot of people utilize products like these to survive their weight loss journeys. There are so many people that have said, switching simply to zero soda, where I didn't have to change how many sodas I had a day, but I drank significantly less calories in soda, helped me and saved my fitness journey. There are so many people that talk about how these products do help them. Do you need them if money's tight? No. But the formulation does help if you start to get used to it and that becomes your thing. You can slowly start tapering down to one a day or whatever, but it doesn't, if you're not, there's 0 calories. So at the end of the day, you're still drinking significantly less calories at that point. It's like people who switch from, your tasty Starbucks coffees to just black coffee or just espresso. It is different calorie-wise. And that's what's happening with EPG. And the people who are already using the products that are owned by the companies that are suing are now going to see a significant disruption at minimum in their deliveries of these products, because they can't sell it anymore. Thank you, David Barr, for fucking over the fitness industry. That's how I feel right now. And I know a lot of other creators agree, either because they've been involved in Nutrition Narc's experience with it, or they looked it up and saw kind of the history of them trying to solely own an ingredient. Whatever it is, a lot of the fitness industry is basically saying fuck David Barr right now. Just like Scotty K says fuck Vshred, I am on the fuck David Barr. Go get other protein bars. Bear Bell Built is sold at Costco. And I've been on the Bear Bell train for a long time. But also, Magic Spoon has minis now if you like the breakfast style bar. There are so many other companies that do it justice that you don't need the fucking dickheads that are trying to take away an ingredient that could revolutionize the supplement industry and diet foods for people. So fuck David Barr, that's my 2 cents, and I will see you on Thursday for some more chaos and fuckery about the DK Bonanza release.